everyone, Egman here with another So You Want to Play, this time with Security Rush Control. I really don't know what to name this archetype. It has a bunch of different names, like McDonald's Control too, because I think the red and yellow variant is the most popular. But this is kind of like an archetype and theme that's really exploded in the last couple weeks, with just how versatile these cards can be, and just the idea of just having like a really stacked security and like really benefiting from your opponent kind of hitting into it. So yeah, I wanted to make kind of a format for you guys to make your own decks. I feel like they're really highly configurable, and there's a lot of different things you can do. You can choose a lot of different colors, and obviously yellow I think is the strongest one. You kind of have to run at least a little bit of yellow in it. A bunch of these colors I think are viable, and you can just make your own deck. And I just wanted to help people do that and kind of show some examples and just get people into this archetype if they're really interested into it. So first thing you gotta do is you gotta pick your colors. I think you can do 2 to 3 colors. Yellow, I feel like, has to be one of them. You don't have to run yellow, but it just has so much synergy with it. Being able to recover security is super great when 90% of your security you want to hit anyways. So that's really powerful. So I feel like you kind of have to run some Angliomon with that, but the rest of the colors have some viables with them. I think red, obviously was the immediate one. Blue has a lot of synergy in my opinion too. There's some cool stuff you can do with blue. Purple has some cool cards you want to run, and then green and black I feel like are kind of the weaker two. They're kind of like tier 2 with this, just because they don't have like a bunch of cards to abuse the security effects with, unfortunately. So I feel like they're just kind of down here. You can definitely try if you want to, and there's nothing wrong with it. But we'll talk about cards that each color kind of wants to hit for their security and go from there. But I also think you can kind of mix and match just a little bit. You're not running a lot of, you're not hard playing or digivolving a lot in these decks. So if you want to just max out on these guys playing for free and want to run a more aggressive build for it, you totally can. And you don't even have to run like a bunch of these security dudes anyways, but you do have to choose kind of one. You probably want to go yellow as your primary color. Another color is kind of your secondary, and you can have like a tri-color if you want. I don't think that's too crazy. So yellow option cards that are good, there's a bunch of them. Seven Heavens and Even Javelin I think are the two that make sense the most. Seven Heavens can KO most things early game, and then Eden's Javelin, especially if you draw a lot of cards, which you can potentially do with this deck. You can also just kill something on stack, and just the fact like you're able to interrupt cards with jamming, or like you can something swings in and they can kill something else on the board. It's just super huge for this, and just being able to kill something without having to pay memory for it is super high value. Eden's Javelin being able to get some additional card draw, which is nice. So we're not doing a lot of Digivolution. We don't have a lot of cycle in these decks, so that's really good. And then some secondary cards from here. I like Glorious Burst just because even though it doesn't have a security effect, you're able to just pop something big. 12k is kind of like the tier for most level 6s, and so you can KO most of them, which feels good. Holy Wave I feel is like a little bit cheesier, but you can definitely run it if you want. Just being able to recover one for free, like just nullifying your opponent's attack, kind of feels good. I don't know sure if I'd play it as much. Like I just feel like Mandra Andramon is just better than this card in my hand though. But you can do it if you want. If you like being cheesy and like just making your opponent upset that they swung in, they didn't actually do any damage. That feels kind of good. And then we also have Lightning Paw. I know some people like to use this against Rookie Rush. And so you can definitely use this if you want. Probably not too many of these, 1 or 2, but if you like the card, you should definitely run it. And then Symphony number 1, kind of like a smaller version of Glorious Burst, minus 7k to something. If you want to run this, it's just it's only 5 memory to run too, so it can get pretty much 5 memory to get rid of any or most of the level 5s out there is kind of good. But once again, no security effect can kind of be kind of stinky. For red, obviously you want Gaia Force. Gaia Force is so good. Gaia Force is good in your security no matter what. So you should definitely run 4 of these if you're going the red way. And then two kind of smaller ones. Plasma Strike's kind of good. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 13k DP or more. This is kind of nice in a lot of ways. It's only 4 memory, and you can kill like your opponent's level 7s, which is super nice for that trade. But only being able to get rid of their level 7 kind of sucks. So if you run this, you'd have to run like 1 or 2. Brave Shield's also kind of nice. Unsuspend one of your Digimon until the end of your opponent's next turn. This Digimon gains blocker, so it can be kind of offense or defense. Since we play like some big dudes, being able to just give them blocker is kind of nice. Or if your opponent gives you a lot of memory or like plays a Puppet Mon or something like that, you can Brave Shield, restand your dude, and you can potentially win the game, which is also kind of nice. So I think this is a good card for the deck. It can be good and go from there. For blue, Kakaitis Breath is just a slightly worse Gaia Force a lot of the time, but it's still slightly worse Gaia Force is still really, really good. So I definitely recommend running these guys. Kaiser Nail is nice, depending on, you have to kind of build around it though, but just being able to play things for more or less free is super nice, especially since we have some nice on-play autos for some of these cards. So that's kind of good for there, especially like off security. You can do some stuff like if you have your Manga Angemon and then you Digivolve into something and you use Kaiser Nail, you get essentially a Holy Wave and a security effect in the same turn. So that's kind of nice to do that. There's some cool synergy. And then Hammer Spark, even if it's not, you can't really memory choke as much, but being able to kind of do that and like being able to give your, -2 memory to your opponent on their turn can just end their turn, and that can save you a lot of time. Like just screw up their stuff and what they're doing. So I think Hammer Spark's good. I don't know if you'd run a full 4, but you definitely would consider running some, in my opinion. And then for purple, we've got Trump Sword's super good. It's once again, it's a conditional Gaia Force, but most of the like sometimes this can just whiff, which feels bad, but it still can just pop something on the spot, and that feels nice. And then Heat Viper, you may delete one of your Digimon, delete up to 2 of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. So kind of like Lightning Paw, but it hits more things, but you also have to give up things. But since you just free play a bunch of things as well, I don't think that's a huge cost. So this could be a potential good card for that deck as well. And then for green and black, the big thing like you'll notice for black has no hard removal. A lot of it is just like de-digivolving, which is nice, but it doesn't prevent you from taking any damage that feels bad. Breath of the Gods is kind of nice though. One of your Digimon gains reboot, and then which can help you out. But just the effect of your opponent's Digimon can't attack players for the turn for a security effect can be nice. Spoilers. And then also, so for green, the only hard removal they have is like Terror Clusters, which is return one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon to the bottom of their deck, which is good for getting rid of stuff, but it doesn't prevent attacks. You just essentially KO with a card that just is swinging right now. So, I mean, at least like most of the time it has a target as long as they don't like unsuspend themselves. But if, your opponent still has their other Digimon to attack with, that kind of sucks. Flower Cannon can always just like end the turn, which is nice, or like you can use it offensively to rest something and swing. So Flower Cannon's like almost worth like playing green, in my opinion. It's so a good card. And then also Positron Laser, up to 2 of your opponent's Digimon can attack or block until the end of your opponent's next turn. Then if you have a blue Digimon, play return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to its owner's hand. And it can also just like end their turn too, because it just prevents them from swinging. So that can be good, but I think in general preventing from swinging is just still worse than just hard KOing something. So there's that. But if you're running like some kind of weird green-blue variant of security, you can definitely run Positron Laser. I think it'd be a good card for it. All right, time for Tamers. TK is super good. You want to run at least 3 of him, if not 4. Being able to look at your security stack, take out like just kind of knowing what's in there and what to expect to say, okay, I've got Gaia Force and a Kakai's Breath in there. I can kind of be greedy because if they try to swing into me, I can pop their stuff, which feels nice. And then also being able to having a 3 tamer on top of that is just amazing. So this is definitely a card you want to run at least 3, if not 4. And then kind of based on what colors you're running, you can go from there. Tai is just a cheap tamer, just to kind of confirm that if you want to be able to run your Gaia Forces or use them in your hand or your Brave Shields or whatever, Tai you can do that for sure. And then there's also Davis for blue. He's just really good because you're able to just do some card draws, especially if you have a deck with like blue Digi Eggs. You can find your rookies kind of easier, and if you're running like blue-green, there's some just... I like Davis. I like this card a lot. It's cool for deck building, and it just gains so much value for me. So I think there's probably a build that exists with him in it. Mimi's super good if you're running a lot of option cards. You just play for 2, and then when a player uses an option card, you may suspend this tamer to gain 1 memory. So if you play 3, if you plan on playing at least 2 option cards hard cast, which you do, this Mimi already kind of pays for herself. And just the fact, like, even if you have to pay 2, or if it plays for free, the fact that you can, like, gain 1 memory back on your turn, which is nice, and maybe keep it on your turn. So there's good, especially, like, if you're running, like, kind of, like, some sort of, like, blue-purple hybrid. then you could lose like a hammer spark, and then you can like gain another memory. And so like gain 2 memory for a hammer spark is great. So there's that. And then Matt, kind of the same thing. If you want just a 3 tamer for purple to make sure your trump swords are and your heat viper's always live, that's good. And then you can also return a purple Digimon or option card from your hand to from your stash to your hand. So if you need to like fetch a trump sword back or something, that can be really nice too. All right, so we're like halfway through the video, but we're going to talk about the Digi Eggs here. So I feel like the three best colors to have like a bottom zone are yellow, blue, or purple. Yellow's just really good because you have Salamon, and being able to just recover for essentially 0 energy or 0 memory is kind of good. Patamon's also really kind of cheesy, but kind of good. Just being able to hard cast it and gain a memory or getting a security back is nice. And also Lopmon is kind of a new option I've been trying. Just in case like you need card draw, or like you can just being able to hard cast this and then like see what the top of your security is, and if it's something you want to keep there, you can just keep it there, and if it's something you want in your hand, you can just draw it. So like if you need to like dig for something or something, I think it's a good try. I like trying it right now, and it's been doing good. And then Upamon, it just lets you draw cards later in the game when your security is 3 or less, which is if your opponent's not swinging to your security, I guess you're winning because then they're just not doing anything. But then if they are, then you can just swing in and gain more advantage and stuff like that. Blue is more, I guess, aggressive, just because Vmon and Demi Vmon is super nice. Being able to just have like put your opponent, like make your opponent like answer it, is like just doing something. Being able to draw 2 cards, one for Digivolving and one for swinging, is really nice for 0 memory. And then Gabumon also just being able to free cycle. Like this is more kind of aggressive and hand cycling in my mind. If you want to be able to have blue on your bottom end. And then also for purple's kind of the same thing for drawing. Like Taper with Demi is good because you're able to draw 2, discard 1, so get some cycle. If you want another rookie, there's not like a lot of good purple rookies that are just rookies. A lot of them just have good inheritables. So Gazimon was the best one I could think of. And it just has the alternative your opponent can't play. They can't gain memory except for Tamer, so which could be viable, and there are some reasons to do it. So there we go. I'm reusing this slide, but here we go. Champions, you probably want to run somewhere between 4 and 10. I think like 7's a good sweet spot. 4 of the one like you really care about, and then 3 of the other one. But if you want to go full, tricolor, I think 10 is probably the max I would do. 4 and 4 of your 2 main colors, and then 2 of like additional color, something like that. But I think it's fine. Like being able to get a lot of targets for your free plays are nice, and it can really kind of help you out. Ultimates, this is kind of up to you. If you just don't want any ultimates, just run 4 Magna Andromon. Being able to just hardcast this dude, gain a security back is nice. And then kind of it depends on how you kind of build your decks. But I feel like these are the best colors for like the kind of the main colors we're talking about and everything like that. We've got Andromon, which when if you get a bunch of Ankyomons out, you can Digivolve on top of 1, gain recovery +1, which is super nice. Mistymon, if you just want to hardcast this, you can pop maybe 1 or 2 of your opponent's rookies, which are kind of good if they're being aggressive with you. Shakuamon, I really like this card for the deck. Being able all your opponent's Digimon with no evolution sources gain security attack -1 for the turn, so you can kind of stall your opponents out and make some awkward plays, which is cool. Sophimon, when Digivolving, change the original DP of one of your opponent's Digimon level 4 or lower to 1k for the turn. So this can be kind of nice for some like spot removal. Being able to just reduce it to 1k, and then like even you have like something to do like 1k damage, like an Eden's Javelin or something, there could be some reason to do that. This also is treated as yellow and red, so if you want to do some red Digivolving, that's fine. Skullgreymon, this I don't know, I've never really liked Skullgreymon, but you can definitely run him. You just hard cast him, delete a blocker, so that can be kind of nice. Zudamon's kind of nice too. Being able to draw 2, also his inheritable when attacking. If your opponent has a Digimon with no devolution cards, gain 1 memory is pretty good too. There's a lot of reasons to run that, and like you can trigger this, which is nice. And then Chimeramon, probably Magna Andromon and Chimeramon I think are 2 of the best on play ultimates in the game. So being able to just play this, pop one of your dudes to pop one of your opponent's bigger dudes feels good, and you can line this up for Digivolutions with it next turn. All right, and then Megas can really just do whatever you want with it. So Magnadramon, /Andromon, Seraphimon, and maybe Cherubimon. I think like these 3 are the main ones that you want to focus on for yellow. Magnadramon, just being able to like hardcast recover 2 is good, especially because most of your security is gas, and so Not only do you not die, but then you can like KO your opponent's stuff. You get hit like Gaia Forces, Eden Javelin, Seven Heavens, that kind of stuff. Flash Angemon is kind of nice for just kind of hard removal. You can do some cool stuff with this as well. Seraphimon, I think, it's slowly becoming one of my favorite ones. So when Digivolving, you trigger Recovery 1, which is kind of nice. So, you can play Magna Angemon, and then next turn Digivolve into Seraphimon, you Digivolve 2, and then also we have 3 or more security cards. This gains security attack +1, which also means like the fact that you can like Digivolve into this and like have like surprise lethal on your opponent is really nice. I really, really like the idea. Like, I feel like a lot of wins can happen just because your opponent's not expecting you to have game next turn, and Seraphimon is one of the surprise ways you can kind of sneak up on your opponent. And then next up, I think no matter what, like pretty close, you want to run Volcanic, or if you're running more blue, you can do Metal Seedramon too. But just being able to delete all of your opponent's Digimon with 4k DP or less is really good. And having security attack +1. And if you're running like Sophiemon or Skullgreymon, you can do the same thing with Seraphimon, where you can have like surprise lethal, where you just have one more security check than your opponent's thinking you'd have, and you can just win the game with that, which is super nice. Metal Seedramon still is really good though, because if your opponent just has 2 big boys out, and if they like had to hard cast a blocker or something, you can just play this, and then they have to bounce them back to your hand. And I mean, it's not KOing, but you can gain like a bunch of tempo for doing this, and that feels really good. Omnimon, if you want, I mean, if you're running Volcanic and you're running Metal Seedramon and you have like a blue-yellow version, I mean, you can definitely run 1 or 2 Omnis. He's never like even just having him in security is not the worst, because he just will KO like anything that's in there, so that kind of is good. Puppetmon is never a bad choice for decks like these where you kind of hard cast a bunch of things. And you can just like Puppetmon can just win you the game for sure. And if you're running Davis in the deck, you should probably be running a Puppetmon or 2. And then Mastermon's kind of nice too, for what it does, especially if you're running yellow. I mean, if you're running yellow anything, it's good. Being able to play cards for free and everything else with that is good as well. And then lastly, here's an example list. This is a slight update from the one I made in my video last week. Just a couple changes I've been wanting to make, and I've been really digging the changes I've made, especially like Sophiemon is kind of cool. I think I added another Volcanic as well, but just being able to, once again, surprise lethal is super good. So Sophiemon can go into either Seraphimon or Volcanitramon, which is nice. And then like it can Digivolve on top of any of our security mons too, which is cool. Shakuomon puts in a lot of work against like Rookie Rush and stuff, so they kind of have to do stuff against you. And Lopmon's been cool. Just being able to, if I need to, if I have to like give like an awkward amount of memory back to my opponent, I can just hard cast this. And if I look at the top card of my deck and it's like a Glorious Burst, or of my security it's Glorious Burst, yeah, I'll add Glorious Burst to my hand and get an extra draw 1, which is nice. Or I could hard cast this and I could be at like 3 security, which means I can get an extra draw with Upamon. There's just like a bunch of ways I could do things, and just being able to draw more cards and get some cycle with a deck that doesn't have a bunch of that can be really good. But that's the list for me. That's the video. Let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know what you guys are building for this kind of archetype. If you have any questions, any advice, or any advice you need, please let me know and I can help you out with that. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.